At this point, they really just should look for another planet to be on, because if you're going to stick around, it's your fault at this point.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Will, and welcome back to another spoiler review for The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 4, entitled The Foundling. This is a spoiler review, so if you have not watched the newest episode of The Mandalorian, make sure you pause this video, go check it out. It was actually a pretty cool episode with a dope-ass reveal. And come back and hear my overall thoughts on it once you watch the episode. And if this happens to be your first time checking out one of my videos, hi, my name is Will, and I do geeky stuff on the internet. And no, I did not take something that actually makes me very relaxed. But I do reviews, reactions, discussions, some gaming, some drinking. I just like to have a lot of fun, and I hope you do as well. And if that happens to be your bag, if you're interested in hearing that from a geeky bear like myself, subscribe to the channel. It would really help me out, and I would greatly appreciate it. So let's talk about the latest episode of The Mandalorian. Hot Pedro Pascal. Alright, so in this episode of The Mandalorian, we do see that Din Djarin and Bo-Katan have joined the rest of the Mandalorians on the weird Australian type backwater planet that has giant raptors and giant sea turtle alligators that they just decide to constantly keep shooting blasters into the lake. No wonder it came out and tried to eat you while you were doing your little ceremony. That opening sequence where they're training by the lake, which is really dope, because you get to see how they all sort of work together, keep their skills up, how they're training the new foundlings. It's all from Bo-Katan's perspective, which is nice because she is the one who has to now integrate into this more rigid sector of the Mandalorians, and you can see that she's starting to understand a little bit more throughout the episode, and really kind of helps earn her place within this group and to have a community again, which she really hasn't had much of probably in the last 10 years, to give or take. You get to see them all training together and randomly firing laser blasts into a lake. I'm surprised that thing did not come out and just try to eat them again. But anyway, it's a good way to get to know this group of Mandalorians beyond just what we've gotten with our Mandalorian, Din Djarin. And we also get to see Grogu kind of have a spotlight in this episode as well. We get some backstory for what actually happened during Order 66, how he escaped, which is the part I'm saving to talk about the most, so I'm kind of breezing through the first half of this. But most of the episode focuses on Grogu beginning his Mandalorian training. He gets to train off against one of the other new foundlings who just got his helmet, and gets to show off a little bit of the jumpy stuff that he learned from Luke while he was doing some training. But that little foundling gets snatched up by a giant raptor bird, and everybody has to take off to try to save him. So that's the bulk of that portion of the episode, where it's Mando and Bo-Katan teaming up with the rest of the Mandalorians to save the new foundling. But we also get some time with the armorer and Grogu, because she's kind of babysitting at this point. And she starts working on more of Grogu's eventual armor. And at the same time, Grogu begins to have flashbacks to what happened during Order 66. This is the biggest, meatiest part of this episode, which I will talk about in just a second. But they do eventually rescue the foundling. They're able to take out the giant Skyraptor, end up leaving the poor things, 3 infant Skyraptor things, orphans, but they end up taking them in at the end of the episode, which is you're gonna train a bunch of, this is turning into Monster Hunter basically, or Monster Rancher, or a weird version of Pokemon. I guess those are the Mandalorian sides of the episode. It really does show how Bo-Katan focuses on being more accepted by this group, not really for any sort of ill will, but really just to try to understand more about this side of her culture, which she kind of scoffed at, in past seasons. But now she's seeing the bond that they sort of have, and is really being taken in as one of their own, as long as she abides by the credo. And even gets an upgraded shoulder pad with the mythosaur symbol on that side of her shoulder, with the other one being the Night Owl. And she wanted to make sure it was acceptable that she could have both, and the armorer agreed. So that's kind of her journey through this part of the episode. But let's just talk about the big cool stuff that happened when we found out a little bit more about Grogu. While he's with the armorer, he begins to start to uncover more of his repressed memories. What happened during Order 66? We see that the stormtroopers storm the Jedi Temple, and the Jedi are trying to help the younglings escape, and primarily Grogu, but they mostly all get gunned down. And the poor thing is in this lift elevator, and what is waiting for him on the other side of this entry is Jedi Master Kelleran Beck, played by Ahmed Best. This is very cool. This is a really cool and touching moment. If you know anything about Ahmed Best's story and his relationship with Star Wars. So Ahmed Best was the actor who did the motion capture and the voice of Jar Jar Binks in the prequel trilogy for Star Wars, episodes 1 through 3, for anybody who just happens to be checking out this video for the first time. Jar Jar Binks wasn't necessarily the most beloved character when he debuted at the time. And if you've been in the space of popular culture and fandoms and how actors receive criticism from certain toxic sides of the fan base, you will understand when I say that his experience at the time was not one that is very fondly remembered. A lot of negativity, a lot of not just bashing the character, but bashing the actor. And keep in mind, actors are just doing their job. And I feel like with Star Wars, we go through this all the time. And we still go through this, unfortunately, to this very day. See John Boyega, see Daisy Ridley, see Kelly Marie Tran, see Jake Lloyd. Actors are just doing their job. And it sucks that he has such a horrible experience when he was portraying Jar Jar. I mean, yes, Jar Jar Binks wasn't necessarily a super beloved character, but again, it's a character. Don't go after the actors over this stuff. This is fantasy, people. But it got to the point where he, unfortunately, was considering unaliving himself, which again is horrible, and it's something more so that recently has been a turnaround for him. The character he's portraying, Kelleran Beck, was a character from a Jedi Academy like kids TV show that he portrayed the character as a Jedi, and it was more so like Legend of the Hidden Temple but with Star Wars in it. That's what it was. So to see them bring that character from this sort of offset like game show or children's show to be a major character and a major plot point for a character in a very popular side of the Star Wars universe in The Mandalorian is a huge thing. And the character is dope. He was able, he was a dual wielder, so he was able to protect Grogu, get him to safety, thanks to the help of some of the Naboo security guards who we can speculate was all instrumented by Padme Amidala, because she was also on Coruscant during the events of Order 66, and she obviously did not agree with what was going on, so she probably used her resources to help ferry endangered Jedi to safety. So we see that Kelleran Beck is able to get Grogu off the planet, escape some TIE fighters, escape some Republic scout troopers and stormtroopers, and is able to escape. And so at least we know that this is how Grogu survived. Ahsoka did mention with her communing with Grogu at the time that a Jedi did save him, we just never know which Jedi. And I'm super glad it is just a Jedi that we didn't know of. And it's a Jedi for a person who really deserved a win. And I think that's one of the dopest parts of this episode. And hopefully this means that we will get to see more of Kelleran Beck in future installments. Maybe another episode of The Mandalorian where we get to see some of his interaction with Grogu, maybe his point of view on what happened with Order 66. It's cool that we continue to see that more and more Jedi did survive the events of Order 66, because it just never sat well with me years ago when they were like, oh, most of the Jedi, if not all of them, were exterminated. I'm like, there were some dope-ass Jedi. You're telling me none of them could get out of this situation? So it's nice to see that Ahmed Best has the opportunity to portray a new character, a new Jedi that we really haven't had a lot of time to explore and get to know. Always dope to see a black Jedi. We don't have a lot of them. I mean, there was Mace Windu. We got screwed out of getting Finn as a Jedi, so it was the best part of the episode to me. I thought the Mandalorian stuff, seeing Bo-Katan sort of be adopted more and more into this group of Mandalorians was really cool. I liked how they really showed off some of the training that the Mandalorians go through to become full-fledged Mandalorians, especially the Foundlings, and how that title still has a double meaning. The Foundling being them having to rescue this one Foundling that was captured by a creature on this very dangerous planet that they really should just go find a different planet. But also how we got to see more and more of Grogu's backstory and finally get those answers that we've been craving for so long, and see his Foundling training to become more of an apprentice as well. And also at the end of the episode, like I said, they ended up killing the big Sky Rapper thing, leaving them. It was the poor mother's children just orphans, so now they're Foundlings as well, and they're going to take them in and train them. And that's basically how the episode ends. So yeah, I wanted to talk mostly about the introduction of Kelleran Beck and how happy I am for Ahmed Best. I kind of wanted to make that the focus of this review, but also still touch on the actual Mandalorian stuff that happened, because a lot of it was interesting, and it was good to see kind of a downtime so you see how this group works. Still a little iffy about the Armorer, especially with what their overall goals is. I want to say her because the voice coming out of it sounds feminine, but it could be someone who does not identify either way. I'm very happy about the episode. I'm glad we're still trying to find out what the season's really going to focus on, especially after these last two episodes. It seems to be setting up whoever our big bad is, but also still tying up loose ends with some of Mando and Grogu's story. And I think as Grogu goes through more and more training, he will start to uncover more and more of his past memories of what happened during that time period and how he eventually ended up in the hands of that mob family that Mando first encountered him with. So it's kind of interesting to see where that's going to take us. That's just my spoiler review for episode 4 of The Mandalorian, entitled The Foundling. Let me know any thoughts you have on it in the comments down below. As always, thank you so much for checking out this and all of my videos. I really do appreciate it. Again, if you were new here and you enjoyed this video and you like what you see, hopefully you do, subscribe to the channel. It would really help me out. And you can follow me on a lot of different social media platforms listed at the end of this video. A ton of videos on this channel. More than welcome to check out. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And as always, until next time, may the Force be with you, and I will catch you later. Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you did like this video, why not give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends? You can subscribe to the channel by clicking on my gorgeous little face right over there. You can follow me on all the various social media platforms right below. And last but certainly not least, if you've got a few extra minutes, why not check out one of the lovely videos floating right over here. Later.